game not bragging. Look bigger than Jagger, not sagging. Roll it backwards, I'ma leave it at that.
Today I'm going to be going over 15 lessons I would tell myself as a junior tennis player. Now today's video is sparked by a little bit of nostalgia. It is actually Christmas Day. You guys are seeing me in my natural habitat here in Christmas PJs, but I thought I would make a video today talking about some things that I wish I knew when I was a little younger and some lessons that would have been valuable. I've played 2 pro events now. I'm gonna be wrapping up my college tennis career very soon, which is hard to believe. 4 years has gone by quite quick. Let's talk about these 15 things now. But before we get into this, everybody that is watching right now, we have a giveaway that's going on. We are under 300 now subscribers away from 10,000 subs. If we get to 10,000 subs, I will be giving away my Head Speed Pro racket that was used in the demo video. So be sure to check out the YouTube short that is on our channel to follow the directions for your chance to win that racket. Also, my racket nerds, please stick around for one of the points I'm going to make in this video. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, so let's really get into it here. Point 1 is to love the game. Now, many of these little tidbits and lessons that I talk about today might seem simple to you guys, but they're really good reminders. And of course, I still love the game of tennis, but you need to remember that over the course of your tennis career, whether you're a junior, you're a parent, you're a coach, you're a college player like me. Sometimes we end up, lack for a better word, we hate tennis sometimes. It's a very different sport. It's very mentally challenging. It's physically demanding. And there's just some days where you can hate it or not like it at all. I've had many of these days. Many tennis players have many of these days. And you just need to remember why you started playing tennis. Whether it's little things like the sound of the ball when it comes off the racket, or the shoe squeaks, or you love being outside, or whatever it is, you need to remember why you began to play. So never forget why you love tennis. So always love the game. Remember that. I think that's very important. Once people, they progress, they kind of forget their own story with tennis, and that I think is very important. So number 2 is when you're a junior, do not focus on just results. Like I just talked about, love of the game. It's all about improvement. We throw around this growth mindset a lot, but a lot of people don't actually understand it. And I'm even someone that's still trying to work on this today. You know, it's important not to focus just on the results because it will become extremely stressful. This can also be aided by parents or guardian, whoever coaches player, to not just focus on this. It's going to cause burnout. It's going to cause an unhappy tennis player. And this goes for also like club players too. If you love tennis and you're starting to play tennis, it's okay to lose, right? You know, it's okay to lose. When you lose, you learn. So like, it's okay, and just don't focus on results when you're specifically a junior. The other one here on number 3 is take care of your mental health. I think this one is quite self-explanatory. We're in a world where mental health is becoming more and more talked about. It is very important, especially as a kid growing up through tennis. It's an individual sport, remember. I'm going to talk about why you should play other sports later, but make sure you're taking care of your mental well-being. It's just as important as your physical well-being. So that leads into point 4, which is play other sports as a child or a teenager. However old you are, you should be playing other sports. I will die on this hill. It drives me insane that even viewers that are watching this channel, your child is not playing other sports. Why? It makes no sense. It's gonna just build a better athlete. I'm sorry, your child's probably not gonna be Novak Djokovic. I wish I was Novak Djokovic. I'm sure you wish you were Novak Djokovic, but we are not. And those are 1 in a million, really. So if you want to actually build more of a complete tennis player, you should be playing other sports. Like I played hockey growing up, I played school sports, I even dabbled in soccer, which I hated, swam. All these other sports build a complete athlete. And the other thing that's so important is it doesn't cause burnout. If you are grinding tennis since you're 5 years old, when you're 15, a lot of kids fall off, and I've seen plenty of kids fall off because they focused on tennis and went too hard too early. So it's important to have those other sports. Tennis can still be your favorite sport, but just make sure you're playing other sports. It's very good for athletic development and also to not cause that burnout with the sport that you love the most. The next one, this is something that happens when you get a little bit older. I'd say when you get into your teenage years, is go to the gym. We talk about this on the channel a lot. It's important to throw around the weight. You need to get strong as an athlete. You need to get strong as a tennis player. Tennis is a unique sport. It's just you out there. You got to be able to handle unique conditions, super sunny, super humid, super dry, and you got to be ready to compete under any circumstance, and going to the gym is a big factor for that. So you got to be willing to put in those hours in the gym when maybe you don't want to, which is very important. So I really encourage all my junior tennis players, friends that are watching here, to go to the gym, get a gym program, maybe start working with a strength and conditioning coach, because that is going to do you wonders. Number 6 here is a quick one, but it's to have a routine. This is something that I personally really crave, and maybe it isn't one for you, but to have a routine every day, to know what you're doing, know when your practices is, how long is your practice for, who are you hitting with, what time are you going to go to the gym, when are you going to block off time to hang out with friends. To have that structure is very important for me, and I think it would be very important for many people. So make sure you kind of have that routine lined out. Make sure your schedule is lined out. When are you going to play certain tournaments throughout the year? When are you going to have your training blocks? All these little things are very important to keep in mind. Number 7, this is more back to more of a developmental mindset when you're a little bit younger, and it is to play everyone. I feel like a lot of parents or maybe even kids, they get hung up on always playing better players because that's the only way to get better, and that's super untrue. Of course, it's very beneficial to play with players that are better than you to improve. However, it's also just as important to play players that are at your level and literally worse, who are not as skilled as you are as a tennis player. This is going to teach you a lot of lessons. There's a lot of things you can work on, especially with a player that is not as skilled as maybe you are. A prime example of that is literally me, and then we'll talk about the big 3. I played with my dad for so many years, and my dad is nowhere near my level, as you guys know. He can play tennis, but he's not a collegiate level. And to the big 3, Novak, Roger, and Rafa, all the greatest tennis players of all time, and they had to play with other players in their off season to train, and they weren't as good as them. So that's a prime example, and that goes for a lot of pro players. WTA and ATP, a lot of the times the players they train with are not as good as them, and this puts them in situations where they try to work on things, and this is for all levels of play. So it is important to play with players that are better than you, but it's also important to realize that you can still have a beneficial practice with players that are at your level or not at your level. The other one here, number 8, is to balance tennis and school. If your goal is to play collegiate tennis, I hate to break it to you guys, you gotta keep those marks up. School's not everyone's favorite. It was not my favorite. I definitely did well in school. I'm happy I can say that, and I have continued to do well in college. But if you would like to put yourself in a good academic institution and compete on one of their sports teams for any sport, you got to keep those marks up, because that's where a lot of scholarship is going to come from, and of course just a lot of opportunity. Number 9 is to learn from losses. They suck. Nobody wants to lose. It's the worst thing. I argue that I hate losing more than I like winning, but it happens in sport. It happens in tennis a lot. If you look at a Grand Slam, there's 128 players, 127 of them are going to lose. It's just a fact, and that stat might be mind-boggling to some of you if you haven't heard that. 127 players in a Grand Slam are going to lose. So we need to get good at losing. We need to realize that losing is okay. We need to learn from our losses, and this is something that can be broke down with a coach, a parent, a close friend, but to know that a loss also doesn't define you. Everybody has shitty losses. I've had a few that I know on the top of my head. I know you as a viewer have had losses that just suck, but it's okay. This is where we learn the most about our tennis and ourselves as an athlete and how we can do better. So to realize that at a young age is, if you can, very important. Okay, so now for my racket nerds. This is very interesting, and I was just talking to my dad about this on how it could have actually hindered my development as a junior, is racket decisions, as in what racket should I play with while I'm a junior. So step 1 to that is make sure you educate yourself on rackets. I know if you're a parent, you might not know much, but if you don't, go to somebody that does, whether that's a coach or somebody that works at your club, a family friend. There are people that know about rackets. So if you are a junior or club player or anybody and you don't know, make sure you find a racket that best suits your needs. So speaking of horrible decisions, this Burn FST 99, horrible decision. I don't know why I played this racket. I don't know, it just made no sense. Okay, I played with that when I was like 14. This was a Wilson Ultra Pro 97 18 by 20. Played with that when I was 15. Worst racket decision you could possibly make as a junior. Don't do this. Head Radical Pro. This is an oldie. Played with this when I was 12. Terrible racket choice. Terrible. So all these rackets are pretty control based, okay? I played with a lot of these rackets when I was a kid, and I think it could have hindered my performance. I feel like a lot of juniors should be using, you know, Babolat Pure Arrows, Babolat Pure Dries, E-Zones, V-Cores, Clash, rackets that have more forgiving power spin, okay? These rackets you can start using when I would say you're 17 or older, maybe even 18. So make sure you know what racket you are buying and how it can help you play better tennis. Okay, point 11 is to play singles and doubles. This goes across all levels. If you want to be a better singles player, you should play more doubles. If you want to be a better doubles player, you should play more singles. Playing doubles can really help you with the whole taking time away tactic, moving forward, putting pressure on swing volleys, pickups, little touch and feel dinky, slicey shots. Of course, your serve and return are going to improve immensely. It's literally 3 to 5 shots, even less in doubles. It's like boom, boom, boom. So with the return, you're really exposed and can only hit to one side of the court. On the serve, you need to place it strategically, and you need to be able to think about that with your partner. And with that will help your singles. Of course, you can go the other way, but I feel like playing doubles will help your singles probably a little bit more than singles helping your doubles. The next one is going to be hard to hear, probably for the younger crowd on this channel, but stay open to feedback. Maybe there are some people on here that are not open to feedback that might be a little bit older, but staying open to feedback, guys. Come on, listen to your coaches, listen to your parents. Most of the time with the parents, you know, sometimes parents have some crazy things that they'd like to say post-match to their children, I think, but for the most part, your parents have good intentions, your coaches have good intentions, so please listen to them. I always did a good job with that. Maybe I could have listened to my parents a little bit more. Maybe I would have eliminated some car fights. Some of that stuff is inevitable, but make sure you're listening to these people. They have their best interest for you, and they really do care. If you have a good coach, they will do everything they can to help you and get better. So please take feedback. 13, this is something that I'm beginning to realize is more and more important as time goes on, even in the last few months, and that is to take breaks. If you do fall into a burnout, if you do fall into a slump, if you do fall into the I hate tennis, which I honestly was recently in, you need to take a break, whether that's 3 days or a week or 2 months. Break from sport is healthy. It's healthy for your mind. It's healthy for your body. Tennis builds up a lot of wear and tear on our body, guys. And sometimes we don't really realize that we need that recovery period. It also takes a big toll up here on our mind. So yeah, take a break when you need a break, however long you need. And that's something that I'm realizing now. I'm kind of in a break period actually right now. So realize when you need to take a break, and take a break if you need it. Number 14, other than taking a break, you do also need to put in the work. So you need to be able to enjoy the grind. So what does that even mean? Like, everybody throws around grind, like I'm gonna go out and grind today. Like, what does that mean? For me, it's about the constant discipline and effort and hard work and determination that goes into the sport that we love. If you are really wanting to get good and get better and improve, there's gonna be days where it just sucks, okay? And I did talk about just burnout a second ago. So there is a fine line there where you do need to know when to stop and when to take a break. However, all that room in between there, that's go time. You need to be able to put in the work. You got to throw around the weight. You got to be working on your mental toughness. You got to be grinding it on court with your coach and hitting partners and playing tournaments, just trying to get better. And there is a lot of work that needs to be put in to get to a certain level. Like, that's so true. A lot of people are always like, why am I not getting better? I'm like, well, are you really trying? And they're like, well, I play twice a week. Well, that's why. So there's a lot of work that is needed to get to a certain level, and you got to be willing to put in the work, and that is what the grind is. And last but not least is to use video to your advantage. Now, this is why we started this channel. I always videoed myself playing when I was a little younger. We wanted to start a channel that would actually help people, share my journey, and then we found this. So to use video to your advantage, to kind of get back to that, you can learn a lot from it. It's your personal coach without having a coach. You can identify so much just by watching yourself, whether that's raw video on a camera like I have right here, or your smartphone, or using apps like Swing Vision. Like, there's endless amounts of things you can do once you start recording yourself. So I really encourage that as well. So guys, that's 15 things that I wish I told myself when I was a junior. Now, I don't know if you guys agree with all of this. I think that it can help a lot of you, whether you are a junior or you're starting to play tennis or whatever level you're at. It should be beneficial to you. Like I said, I've had a lot of experience in this space now. I've played pro events. I'm still a collegiate player, coming to my end of my career there. Had a very successful junior career. And of course, I am a coach. I'm certified here in Canada. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. At this time, it's still Christmas, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you guys in the new year.